What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media, coming at you today with another college football preview video for the 2020 season. And up today, we got a Big 12 team in the Texas Longhorns. All right, speaking of Texas, you look at this shirt. I don't know. I say it's orange. Some people say it's like a mustard brown or something. I don't know. You guys let me know what you see. But anyway, this is kind of Texas colors when you look at it. But anyway, you look at Texas last season, 8-4 regular season overall. And they had a couple losses where it's like, all right. You look at Tom Herman. Uh, he's been there quite some time, I guess you could say, as the head coach. He's got a record of 25-15 in total. That's as an actual head coach. Um, so. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at this wrong. In total, as a head coach, he's 47 and 19. He's 25-15 overall at Texas. He was at Houston for 2 years, been at Texas for 3 years. At Houston, 22-4. That's a pretty good record, I guess. So when you look at that, he's done a pretty decent job. Um, he started out going 7-6 in his first year. I guess, what was it, 6-6 in total. Pretty good for a Big 12 team, although they don't have defense. And Texas has been known for quarterback play in recent history. This past decade and everything. You look back. First off, I don't think they've been to a national title since Alabama beat them on that glorious night when the dynasty began. So they haven't been to the playoffs. They haven't been to the BCS or anything like that since then. So when you look at it like that, they've made ball games. They've won some. It's kind of been up and down for Texas in recent years. So, but you look at last year. First off, let's go back to the 2018 season. You look at that. That was a pretty good year for Texas. They lost their first game, 34-29 to Maryland. I'm not going to go through all these. But then they were on a 6-game win streak. They beat Oklahoma in the, what do they call it, Red River Rivalry. Then they beat Baylor and all that, blah, blah, blah. They lost to Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. Oklahoma goes to the playoffs. And they beat Georgia, who just came off a championship run and failed to win against Alabama. We remember 2nd and 26, blah, blah, blah. So a great bowl win there, 7 points in the Sugar Bowl. Sam Ehlinger and Texas declared that they were back in college football. Back to being mediocre, whatever. Listen, Georgia looked like they didn't want to be there in that game, in my opinion. Because they didn't want to be. They wanted to get back to the playoffs and make it to the championship and actually win it. Again, you look at last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8-4, 9-4 overall. Won against Utah in the Alamo Bowl. Utah, a decent Pac-12 team. Gotten some good recruits, if anything. So a pretty good bowl win, 38-10. In the Alamo Bowl, a pretty low-tier bowl there. So when you look at it like that, Tom Herman with Texas, it has done a pretty good job since he's been there. So there's that. So they said they were back after they beat Georgia. Didn't they looked like it at the start, even though they lost LSU. It was a very close game, only by a touchdown. They, start the season out with a loss to the eventual national champions. LSU looked like a really good team last year, obviously, as we know. They lose to Oklahoma. Understandable. Oklahoma's the best in the Big 12. I did a preview video on them. At TCU, TCU's terrible. I don't even know how terrible to describe them. Once you see that loss, you're really like, okay, they're not back. Don't even though it was on the road or whatever, but come on, don't even say you're back after that. Yeah, you're back to being mediocre is what you are. But anyway, with that being said, let's move on to 2020. All right, you look at the season. Start off USF. Wow, that's interesting. This actually might be a really good game. I'm in Florida, as you guys know, in the Tampa area. So USF playing at Raymond James, where the Buccaneers play. Love the draft class, by the way. That'll be an interesting game in terms of. I mean, it's USF. Now, do I pull for them? Do I care much? Not really, but I mean. This will be an interesting game to see where Texas is. If they lose this, you can go ahead and write them off for 2020. If they win it, I mean, don't count on them completely, because USF is not really a team right now where, you beat them, you're on the map. Don't get it twisted. So start the season off with the home game September 5th. To kick off the season, with USF coming to town. On the road at LSU, home against UTEP, bye week very early in the season in September. You haven't even made it to October yet. At Kansas State, against Oklahoma, neutral site game in Dallas where the Cowboys play in the Red River Shootout, Red River Rivalry, or whatever they call it. Then you have West Virginia come to town, at Texas Tech, home against Baylor, at Kansas, TCU comes to town, Iowa State comes to town, and at Oklahoma State. This is a very interesting schedule for Texas. When I see this, first off, I know what to count as losses to begin with. Against Oklahoma, I did a preview on them. I believe I picked them to win this game. I like where Lincoln Riley has this program right now. Yes, he has yet to get over the hump of getting past the semifinals and actually making a championship, but competing for one. Really the closest he's come was that Rose Bowl against Georgia a few years ago, right? Defense did not show up on that final play. It looks like he has turned the defense around a little bit. It looked like that at least last year. I know that their final game they gave up 63 points to LSU, but I mean that's LSU. It's neutral field. It's the playoffs, and LSU was just that dominant last year. So I think Oklahoma is a far better program than Texas. Maybe not overall. Maybe equal. I don't know. But as of right now and today, I think they are. So I would give that to Oklahoma there in the Red River Rivalry. West Virginia coming to town. You could probably win that. At Texas Tech. Texas Tech has been down to the dumps forever. I forget about Texas Tech. And I know quite a few teams. Texas Tech ain't one of them. Baylor comes to town. Baylor was all right last year with Matt Rule, who's now out of the Big 12. He's in Carolina, so they'll have a new head coach. But it's, who is it? Dave Aranda from LSU. So he's got some experience from being with Coach Orgeron in that awesome 2019 LSU Tiger team last year. I'm interested to see how he handles transitioning from the SEC to the Big 12. So this is at home, though. I don't know. I think at Oklahoma State's pretty tough on the road. I'll give that to Oklahoma State. That's your final game of the year. Let's see. So USF at LSU, UTEP at Kansas State against Oklahoma, West Virginia at Texas Tech, Baylor at Kansas, TCU, Iowa State, and at Oklahoma State. Crap, this is hard. You're losing to Oklahoma, you're losing to LSU. That's 2 losses right there. At Kansas State, they beat Oklahoma last year. Who knows what that's going to look like this year. I'll give that to Kansas State. So 2, 3. I don't know. Hold on. Sorry about that. But anyway, where was I? Yes. You're losing to LSU. That's 1 loss. Oklahoma. At Kansas State. I have a feeling that's a trap game. And I think Kansas State could win that. So that's that. At Texas Tech. You probably pull that out. At Oklahoma State. I like you guys to win that one as well. I'm going to say you lose to Baylor. I have a feeling Dave Aranda could do something with Baylor after his experience with LSU last year, coming off that championship. I'm gonna play it safe here and say, I don't know, man. This is tough. Baylor, Oklahoma, LSU, Kansas State, and then I think you lose at Oklahoma State too. It's late in the year. You come off 2 home games against Cupcakes. I feel like they just won't have it in them because they think, I don't know, but so again, those losses: Baylor, Oklahoma, Kansas State, LSU, and Oklahoma State. With that being said, I'm looking at a 7-5 record for Texas football. 7 wins. That's 1 more than 6. You make a bowl game. I'm not sure who you're going to play or what's going to happen. You definitely won't be there in the Big 12 championship, but you do get a bowl game. You might win it, go 8-5, lose it, go 7-6 in total. We will see what happens there, but they claim to be back. I haven't seen it. I don't think anyone's seen it. 7-5 record this year for Texas, the Texas Longhorns and Tom Herman. Maybe in a couple years, if you guys can keep up with recruiting and work on defense a little bit. Which, oh, by the way, I guess they have had a little bit of defense recently, but I mean, come on. I think they lost a safety this year in the draft to Brandon Jones. I'm not sure what team he's with, but you also lose, Sam Ellinger at quarterback. Didn't you lose him? Or no, I guess maybe he's still there. So I guess he will be returning. Let's see what he looks like. I'm not going to doubt him, but I just think overall, I don't see it. But anyway, so that's my prediction for Texas. About 7-5, but anyway, 8-4, 7-5. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm losing it right now, but be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Comments always appreciated. Texas fans, if you're on here actually watching this, Tell me why you're back. Tell me why I'm right or whatever. You know, any other fans of any other teams that know college football, whether you have a team or not, give me your predictions on Texas in 2020. I think it's going to be an interesting year. Definitely want to see. I mean, if they pull this off and beat LSU in Baton Rouge, which I think everyone is gonna just shake their heads no at that, but if they pull that off, I'll come on here and declare Texas is back, because you know what? I get everything LSU is losing, but man, if you think a team like Texas is gonna go in there and win in Baton Rouge, you're crazy. Oh, they lost Joe Burrow. They lost Dave Aranda. They lost this guy or that guy. I get that. I get everything they lost on the coaching staff, the running back, wide receivers, secondary and quarterback and all that. I get everything they lost, and they don't have a whole lot coming back. But I just have a feeling that they'll at least be good enough they can win at home against Texas. Now, if this were in Austin, Texas, that's a different story. But anyway, so that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media, checking out. Y'all have a good one.